In our world, something is always being born, something dies, and something remains the same. Everything in the universe is created, maintained for a certain amount of time, and then destroyed in order to be renewed in ideal form again. It's extremely difficult to say when Hinduism began. The tradition itself maintains that it's a timeless religion that has always existed. The origins of Hinduism can be traced to the ancient Indus Valley civilization. This would mean that the religion is over 4,000 years old. Along with ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia, it was one of three early civilizations of the Old World, and the most widespread among them. It was the real birthplace of Western ideology and culture. Ancient scripts have influenced great scientists in Germany, America, and all over the world. Hitler and the Nazi staff were exceptionally interested in ancient India and Tibet, and sent expeditions to both of these places yearly, starting in the 1930s. The Mahabharata clearly describes a catastrophic blast that rocked the continent.
It was an unknown weapon, an iron thunderbolt, a gigantic messenger of death, which reduced to ashes the entire race of the Vrishnis and the Andhakas. The corpses were so burned as to be unrecognizable. Hair and nails fell out. Pottery broke without apparent cause, and the birds turned white. After a few hours, all foodstuffs were infected.
This looked like a description of deaths and devastation due to radiation poisoning at a nuclear blast. Based on these descriptions, many theorists believe that nuclear weapons could have existed in ancient times. However, it's not clearly explained by science how these ancient civilizations knew such an advanced technology. The more we try to understand this, the more questions we uncover. One of the greatest mysteries of all time has been the sudden disappearance of Indus Valley civilization and all of its population. What could have caused the sudden destruction of the civilization and the complete disappearance from the face of the earth? When excavations of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were done, archaeologists found skeletons scattered all over the place. The skeletons were highly radioactive, as if some nuclear devastation had caused their sudden and untimely death. The sand turned into glass because of the high temperature or explosion. This effect is called vitrification.
I do believe there was a technologically advanced civilization before our own. Sadly, if they existed, those cultures vanished away 10,000 years ago. A lot of evidence becomes more and more convincing. And for those who doesn't believe it, to be fair, there is no real proof that it didn't exist as well. There could have been an apocalypse-like event destroying the earlier civilization. In modern times, any archaeology from those cultures would be extremely difficult to identify. For example, the Antikythera mechanism, a complex device with 30 gears that is believed to be kind of an ancient computer. It was found in one of the Greek islands. There are signs and discoveries being found all over the world. I think there was an advanced ancient civilization before ours, and what's more, it was most certainly developed elsewhere and came here, particularly in Indus Valley. The cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were discovered. No other culture, including those of Egypt and Mesopotamia, were as advanced. Also, traces of artificial radioactive elements were found in Mohenjo-daro, such as uranium, platinum, and even thorium. That would suggest that these ancient civilizations could be familiar with nuclear technology or even a nuclear war. Now, this knowledge could come from another civilization somewhere else in the universe, and that civilization could be much more advanced than we have in modern days.
Today we've come together to speak about Vedic knowledge and the whole concept of Vedas. This is a most important question because Veda, this word means knowledge. It's a Sanskrit word.
In the Hindu culture, the creation of 4 Vedas is credited to Brahma. Brahma is the Hindu god of creation and one of the trinity of Hindu gods. The others are Vishnu and Shiva.
The Vedas cover all different aspects of human knowledge: warfare, art, science, and of course, most importantly, the spiritual aspect of our existence. in material existence, these three aspects are always present: creation, maintenance, and destruction. So therefore, there needs to be some personality who puts their consciousness there to in charge of these things. In the Hindu concept is the Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. The Brahma is the creator of this material world, or what we would say the secondary creator. He works with the material elements that are given by the Supreme Lord. Vishnu is the maintainer, and Shiva the destroyer.
In the 19th century, after colonializing India by British Empire for several decades, many Western scientists had enough time to translate the books of Vedas into their own languages, as well as many Tibetan works which were based on Vedic teachings. Western culture used the Vedic knowledge to explain mathematics, astronomy, aerodynamics, metaphysics, chemistry, and also to explore medicine.
By the end of the 19th century, the fact is that India was already Britain's biggest cash cow, the world's biggest purchaser of British goods and exports.
Many Western modern inventions are stolen from Vedas. Here is a list of Western famous inventors who were inspired or copied their works from Vedas. Sir Isaac Newton, English physicist and mathematician recognised as one of the most influential figures in the scientific revolution. Alessandro Volta, Italian physicist and chemist credited with the invention of the first electrical battery. Charles Darwin, English naturalist and geologist, best known for his contributions to evolutionary theory. Max Müller, German-born philologist and Orientalist who lived and studied in Britain. He was one of the translators of the Vedas books. Alfred Nobel, Swedish chemist, engineer, innovator, and armaments manufacturer. He was the inventor of dynamite. Dmitry Mendeleev, Russian chemist and inventor. He created a version of the periodic table of elements that he described in his book, Principles of Chemistry. Mark Twain, American author, stated, "India is the cradle of the human race, the birthplace of human speech, the mother of industry, the grandmother of legend, as well as the great-grandmother of tradition. Our most valuable and most constructive materials in the history of man are treasured up in India only." Thomas Edison, American inventor and businessman. He developed many devices that greatly influenced life around the world, including the phonograph, the motion picture camera, and a long-lasting, practical electric light bulb. Nikola Tesla, Serbian-American inventor, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, and physicist. He studied the frequencies or the power of sound. He was the author of the dynamic theory of gravity, but he never explained it. He stated that there is no energy in matter other than that received from the environment. Romain Rolland. The French scholar Romain Rolland wrote, "If there is one place on the face of Earth where all the dreams of living men have found a home from the very earliest days when man began the dreams of existence, it's India." Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein, German-born theoretical physicist, stated, "We owe a lot to the Indians, who taught us how to count, without which no worthwhile scientific discovery could have been made." He also said, whenever he found difficulties in experiments, he referred to Vedas for insights. The ancient Hindus could navigate the air, and not only navigate it, but fight battles in it. One of the most fascinating topics spawning from India's past is the story of ancient flying machines known as Vimanas. There are some records describing how to build one, and the instructions are quite precise. The ancient Indian epic describes a Vimana as a double-deck circular aircraft with portholes and a dome. It flew with the speed of the wind and gave forth a melodious sound. There were at least 4 different types of Vimanas, some saucer-shaped, others like long cylinders, cigar-shaped airships.
So Vimana, this is a flying ship. They're mentioned in many places in the Vedas. Previously there were flying airplanes, and not mechanical devices like we have today using petroleum, but they actually worked on other principles. The description of there's one asura by the name of Shalva. He had a wonderful airplane that could become invisible, that had many different kinds of weapons that it could discharge. It could fly at different altitudes and different speeds. Any military commander today would be very happy to actually have such an airship.
Vimanas were powered by some sort of anti-gravity. Vimanas took off vertically, and they were capable of hovering in the sky like a modern helicopter.
This age that we're in today is called Kali Yuga. And the influence of this age is to reduce intelligence, to reduce the qualities of human beings, And so consequently our lives are becoming more and more crude, not better. The Vedic worldview is antithetical to what's given to us in the worldview of modern science. Modern science would have us believe that everything began from a big bang and it's evolving and getting better and better, and that what we have today is the pinnacle of human civilization. The Vedic opinion is completely opposite, that formerly there were very grand civilizations, and this age has become a much worse quality. So everybody's heard about the Golden Age, perhaps, and the Silver Age. There's Golden, Silver Age, Bronze Age, and now the Iron Age of Kali. This means degradation of human life. So now we have airplanes, we have flying ships, we have atomic weapons, but these are very crude compared to the airships and the weapons of former ages.
You what, mate?